Good afternoon, friends. This is our first workout of the day. We are stretching and we are doing yoga in the backyard. I'm just trying to pause for a second and listen to the sounds. Feel the air in my lungs and the wind on my skin. And in this moment, it is pretty cool to be alive and breathing and moving, feeling like the burn in my muscles from this held position. It's like all of the signs and symptoms of living. It's going to be 74 degrees today. We are going to skate.
Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
All right, friends, that is a wrap. Today we roller skate danced in the sunshine. Both of our workouts were outdoors today. I mean, that's about as good as it gets, I think. That alone pushes it into top 10 territory. And I was able to focus and have a flow state day, which was very nice. It's always nice when I can get into a flow. I feel like a lot of times you beat yourself up, especially if you have ADHD, if you're not medicated with actually sitting down and getting stuff done. So it's kind of nice to be able to dial in and harness that flow state without medication. So that's always a win. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to try and take out the inflatable paddleboard. So if I do, I will bring you guys along for that. And we're just going to paddleboard across the river. I think that would be a nice outdoor workout. The weather's warming up so nicely. So I think a morning a morning paddle would be very, very fun. I do want to read you something from the book that I'm reading, Things Fall Apart, and consider it a friendly reminder to just pay attention to how you're treating yourself. The most difficult times for many of us are the ones we give ourselves. Yet it's never too late or too early to practice loving kindness. It's as if we had a terminal disease but might live for quite a while. Not knowing how much time we have left, we might begin to think it was important to make friends with ourselves and others in the remaining hours, months, or years. It is said that we can't attain enlightenment, let alone feel contentment and joy, without seeing who we are and what we do. Without seeing our patterns, this is called matri, developing loving kindness and an unconditional friendship with ourselves. People sometimes confuse this process with self improvement or building themselves up. Get so caught up in being good to ourselves that we don't pay any attention at all to the impact that we're having on others. We might erroneously believe that Matri is a way to find happiness that lasts, as advertisements so seductively promise. We could feel great for the rest of our lives. It's not that we pat ourselves on the back and say, "You're the greatest," or "Don't worry, sweetheart, everything is going to be fine." Rather, it's a process by which self deception becomes so skillfully and compassionately exposed that there's no mask that can hide us anymore. What makes Maitri such a different approach is that we are not trying to solve a problem. We are not striving to make pain go away or to become a better person. In fact, we are giving up control altogether and letting concepts and ideals fall apart. This starts with realizing that whatever occurs is neither the beginning nor the end. It's just the same kind of normal human experience that's been happening to everyday people from the beginning of time. Thoughts, emotions, moods, memories come and they go, and basic nowness is always here. It's never too late for any of us to look at our minds. We can always sit down and allow the space for anything to arise. Sometimes we have a shocking experience of ourselves. Sometimes we try to hide. Sometimes we have a shocking experience of ourselves. Sometimes we try to hide. Sometimes we have a surprising experience of ourselves. Often we get carried away. Without judging, without buying into likes and dislikes, we can always encourage ourselves to just be here again and again. I like the idea of people not being a problem to solve, which I think is really easy to get it caught up in self improvement hustle culture. Um, what if you're not a problem to solve? What if everything that you're feeling right now is a condition of the human experience and it has been happening in infinite timelines since the beginning? And what if, even if you're at your lowest or your day is like a 1.5, you could hold in your heart that that is not the end and you don't need to hide from the darkness, and that if you sit still you could learn something about yourself and then reach enlightenment because you're paying attention. I'm going to mull that over tonight. I think I said I gave the day a solid 10. Let me know how your day shaped out. Was it good? 1 through 10. 10 being absolute control C, control V, let's do this again. 1 being, it was a day. I'd like not to repeat it. Um, that's the scale. Like, ooh, if I got stuck in a Groundhog Day situation with this specific day, like, is this a solid 10 that I want to keep repeating, or is it like, ooh, let's get rid of this? But we can still appreciate it for what it is. With that being said, that's all that I've got for y'all. I will see y'all in the next one.